And we're going to kick off tonight's show with a live interview. And my guest is joining me right now. Actually, she called in a few minutes early. That's even better. She's an indie pro wrestler, goes by the name of Taylor Made, and she is joining me right now. Good evening, Taylor.
Evening, how are you?
I'm doing real good. Thank you for joining me here this evening to kick off the show.
No problem.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. How did your wrestling career got started?
Well, I've always been a fan. I used to watch it with my dad when I was younger, and I ended up going to a local indie company about 8, 9 years ago, and I started managing from there. And then I started training wrestling in 2009.
Do you remember the first wrestling match you ever had? And if so, who was your opponent? And what company did you work for at that time?
My first match was versus Melanie Cruz. It was a Chicago street fight. The company was POW Entertainment, located out of Illinois. Fortunately, I was the victorious one of that match.
Did you got nervous? Did you get the butterflies prior to this match?
Well, I think anytime you have a match, you're going to get nervous. My feeling is if you don't have any nerves or excitement before you have an event or a match, then I think it's time for you to, get out, because then you've lost the drive to want to do it anymore.
How did it feel to pick up the victory in your first ever match?
It was amazing. A lot of people who have their first matches, unfortunately, are not victorious. So I was luckily one of those. And I've had many matches against Melanie throughout my entire career.
So, obviously, you know how wrestlers have meanings behind their stage names. What made you decide to name yourself Taylor Made? Was it your idea? Was it a company's idea?
It was, when I first started managing, before I started wrestling, I was managing American Made Rick Paradise. We kind of came up with Taylor Made because, it's a play on words, Tailor Made from head to toe, and I would think that fits my personality and me as a whole, so I think it's very fitting.
So do you have any upcoming wrestling matches or shows that you would like to promote?
The next match that I'm going to be having will be at Shine in Ybor City, Florida. That is January 11th. If you are unable to attend the match, you can also order the match on wwnlive.com via pay-per-view. So that's my next scheduled match that I'm going to be having coming up. So,
Speaking of Shine, which has become one of the Wizen woman wrestling company, you form a team, I believe, with WSU's and Midwest Militia's Allison Kay, and the name of the team is called Made in Sin. And April Hunter, who's a wrestling legend, she's the manager. Talk about that team and how did that came about?
it kind of just happened, and me and Ashton look very much alike, and I think we complement each other's styles very well. And then obviously with April Hunter with us, her being our manager, she definitely is our, so what you would call security, and we're definitely unstoppable. Even with or without April Hunter, we always get the job done. So
Who do you consider as biggest influences in your wrestling career?
influence-wise, I mean, I have a few favorite wrestlers as I was growing up. I definitely like the Attitude Era with Lita and Trish Stratus. Those are my female wrestlers that I definitely look up to. And I like Stone Cold. I definitely like their I don't care kind of attitude. So I definitely like to kind of portray that when I'm in the ring. So
It's interesting that you mentioned Lita and Trish because I believe it was on this day, back in the Attitude Era, that they main evented Monday Night Raw, and that was probably the first time ever that it was a woman's match as a main event for Monday Night Raw. And I guess that definitely shows the confidence that they had in the women's division at the time. And to see those two ladies featured in the main event when you have big stars like Triple H and The Rock and The Undertaker and the list goes on and on, that definitely says something. That's definitely saying something. Um, how would you describe your wrestling style? Do you consider yourself technical, you high flying? What is the best way to describe your wrestling style?
I don't really have a specific style. I kind of adapt to the weaknesses of my opponent. I just do whatever needs to be done to get the job done, and I become victorious. So if I need to do high flying to get the victory, I'll do that. If I need to be technical, regardless, whatever needs to be done, I get it done.
When it comes to getting into the ring, what kind of character do you like being better? Do you like being the baby face or do you like being the heel?
I think I am more comfortable with being a heel. The crowd naturally doesn't like me, which they have every reason not to because, you know, I'm tailor-made. Everyone wishes that they could be me or that they could, have a girl that's like me. So they're going to naturally be jealous or they're going to envy me. So
Who do you consider your favorite wrestlers you like working with or against?
I don't necessarily have any favorite wrestlers that I would like to be in the ring with, but I definitely like to wrestle more people that I haven't faced yet. So, I mean, there are some wrestlers that I would like to definitely have a match with would be Hamada, Madison Eagles, or even Soraya Knight. So those are my three wrestlers that I definitely would like to have a match with someday.
Wow, I gotta hand it to you, Taylor May. You kind of beat me to it. That was kind of the next question I was gonna ask you, as far as who are some people you'd like to face someday. So you're a step ahead. I definitely give you that one. Um, so my next question is, what do you consider as the highlight of your wrestling career thus far?
The highlight of my career so far, luckily this year I've been very fortunate. With this tag team that I have with Allison Kay, we've definitely had a lot more opportunities. At this past Shimmer taping in Berwyn, we were in a tag match versus Kana and Lufisto, so that would be probably one of my top matches. And then we also had a match against Amazing Kong and Jazz at FUW in Florida this past month or so. So those, I think, would probably be the top highlights of my career so far.
For those just tuning in, you're listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio live right here on ITMIRadio.com Talk Channel 2. I'm joined with Indy Pro Wrestler Taylor May. You can catch her in the upcoming Shine Wrestling show alongside with Allison Kay. You can go to shinewrestling.com for more info and check out some of your favorite women wrestlers. As I pointed out, Shine Wrestling is definitely the fastest rising women wrestling company here in the U.S. You got your WSUs, you got your Shimmers. They've been around for a while, but Shine Wrestling is definitely on the way up. So if you're in the Florida area, go check them out. Again, go to shinewrestling.com for more details. You've been on the road. That obviously, like any other wrestler, there's the ups and downs. What do you consider the pros and the cons, being in wrestling?
Well, honestly, there's pros and cons to everything. It just depends on how you look at it. You always have to, if you want positive, there's always going to be negatives. It just depends on how you deal with it and what you make of it. So, I mean, you're never going to always have everything perfect. You're always going to have those downs, but when you do, the good things are always to come afterwards. So,
What do you like the most of being a wrestler? Do you like the traveling? You like hanging out with your peers? Fan interaction? What do you like the most of being a wrestler?
I don't really have anything specific to what I like most about wrestling. I love the physicality of it. I definitely love the traveling and seeing new places. I love meeting new people. I love interacting with the fans. And I definitely love entertaining people.
At this point of your career, you've been around for a few years now. What are some other goals you'd like to accomplish? Do you consider, doing more shows, or maybe someday going into the big leagues like WWE or TNA or Ring of Honor? What are some other goals you'd like to accomplish?
I mean, I definitely would love to accomplish making it into what you would call the big league. But right now, I would definitely like to travel more internationally and wrestle in different countries and have new opponents that I wouldn't necessarily be able to face here in the U.S.
And for those who want to get in touch with you or learn more from you, upcoming shows and things of that nature, why don't you go ahead and promote your social links like Twitter, Facebook, or any other links out there that people need to know?
You can contact me on Facebook. I do have a fan page on Facebook under TaylorMade. My website under Facebook is also facebook.com/TaylorMade.888. Or you can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Taylor_Made88. And for bookings and merch inquiries, you can contact me via email at taylor.made.thewrestler.com.
Earlier, before we got on the air, you and I talked a little bit, and I'm definitely am familiar with your work on the indie scene. I'm also familiar with you being a part of custom wrestling tapings such as Slamming Ladies and Magnificent Ladies Wrestling. And for what I hear, you will be featured on the first tapings of 2013 for Magnificent Ladies Wrestling.
Yes, that is true. I will be there January 19th, if I'm not mistaken. It's the third Saturday of January.
When you first...
I can't quite remember.
Oh yeah, yes, I believe it. January the 19th, I believe. You can book a match with TaylorMade against any of the other ladies that will be included. Michelle Myers, Nikki Lane, Diane Von Hoffman, a lot of big names in the women wrestling will be there. Go to magnificentladieswrestling.com and find out how you can book a match with TaylorMade. When you first started doing these custom wrestling tapings, how did you first feel about it then, and how do you feel about it doing it now?
It just gives me more practice in the ring. It's a different style than it would be in front of a live crowd. But I just look at it as a learning experience every time I get into the ring, whether it is a custom match or if it's a live show.
And my last question for you is, if you can give anyone advice on wanting to be a wrestler, what would your advice be?
There's a lot of things to give people advice. Basically, keep your ears and eyes open, keep your mouth shut. Try to train any style that you can, because the more styles you learn, the more wrestlers you wrestle, the better your craft is going to be, and the better wrestler you are as a whole.
Well said. Well, Taylor, it was great talking to you. Thank you for taking the time to doing this interview. Everybody check out Sean Wrestling, Taylor Made, and Allison K, together known as Made in Sin. They got a lot going on, and check them out, SeanWrestling.com, for more details up there in the Florida area. Thank you for being on. Best of success goes out to you, and happy holidays to you as well. Thank you for being on.
You too. Thanks for having me. Happy holidays.
You have a good night.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. That was Taylor May kicking off the show right here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio.